Hey, it's Travis Coleman and you're watching me on Run Forest Run TV. Hey, it's Travis Coleman and it's February 2024 and last time I was here it was 2023. I've just come back from a 3-month van trip to Adelaide and back. We did a month down, a month in Adelaide and a month back, just absolutely losing our minds, surfing, traveling, escaping the world with my girlfriend. The first part of the trip we went to Kosciuszko. It rained all the way to Sydney, so we got a good test in the van, not being able to do it much and living on top of each other. But we got to Sydney, went to the Blue Mountains, ran around there as a training camp for Kosci. Got to Kosci and it was a 110 kilometer ultra trail run, which was the most brutal thing I've ever done in my life, I think. And it's got me really keen to come back and get into some short triathlon racing, maybe some sprint and Olympic to start with, and then we'll see how we go. But I think that's my ultra career wrapped up. So 110 Ks, in my head, I thought I could hold 6-minute pace with 3,300 meter vert. Turns out the hills are hard and the downhill's technical, and it took me 18 hours. So we started at 6 a.m. and I finished at half an hour past midnight the next day. The most brutal suffering thing I've ever done. I hit the wall mentally at 35 Ks into the race and had another 75 Ks to go. So that does the worst things to your brain. And then at about 50 Ks, I just met another guy running and we had mad chats. And then somehow, just from chatting to people and realizing that we're all here for the same thing, using each other and my support crew of my girlfriend and my parents, got me all hyped up. And even though I was running like 9-minute Ks for the next 70 kilometers, I had the best time. My body was well until night. And then I like shuffled for 20 kilometers and it took me 3 hours. But we finished. So we finished Kosci and that was it for anything hard. And then we went south to Adelaide for the Tour Down Under. We got there just in time for the Rafa 500 actually, so the Strava challenge. And I almost doubled it because I was riding to and from the group ride. So they got my bike fitness back after having time off from Kosci. Got super pumped for the TDU, watched the women's races. We watched some of the men's, but it just got really hot. I wasn't used to dry Adelaide heat. We come down this hill and it's like being in a sauna and the air makes you hotter while you're descending. It's weird for my brain, but I actually really enjoyed not being humid because up here on the Gold Coast, everyone's getting smashed with storms. And I was just having the best time in Adelaide, chasing around all the pro guys, living the best life. I had a Julian Alaphilippe kit on. I just tried to pretend I was Julian Alaphilippe. I had the mo and the goatee and everything, but I got 2 big shoulders, so you could tell. Yeah, it was my first time at Tour Down Under. It was really cool because you go out, like the hills in Adelaide are next level. You start in the city, or we were pet sitting because we were in the van at Harndorf. So we ride down, up the hills, just endless hills, and then you just all the way down to the coast. But because the TDU's there, all the pro teams are out. So every time you go anywhere, anytime, you're running into pro cyclists everywhere. And there's easily 1,000 cyclists just taking over the streets. It's a lot more cyclist friendly than I'm used to on the Gold Coast. It's not too bad here, I don't think. But down there, everyone just accepts that everyone's riding for 2-3 weeks and they just sit back, they wait behind you, no one's abusing you. It was really nice to not be abused while I'm on a bike. That was a relief. When we left Adelaide, we finally got our surf trip part of the van life because on the way down to Sydney, we tried to surf, but it was onshore winds and wet and rainy and horrible. And I thought, all right, we'll get bad weather out of the way, we'll get great weather all the way home. And the second we leave Adelaide, this big south swell just follows us the whole way home. We ended up going to urban surf at Melbourne as well, get absolutely shacked out of my brain there. It was incredible. I hit Bells, Torquay, Lorne. I think we got a couple others. We went to Port, got a great surf there. And I think I saw a shark. I saw something big and black go underneath me at like 40 K an hour. And I just kind of hoped it was a dolphin, but dolphins aren't usually in a rush. So I got one more good wave and come in. And then we went to Crescent Head and we just scored like perfect chest to head height, crescent, rolling A-frames. We had a mal and a fish, so I couldn't bring all my boards. So I either had a 10 foot or a 5 foot. Surfed 10 foot high tide, 5 foot on the low tide. I think I went from, back here I trained 30, 40 hours a week. I think I was surfing 5 hours a day, nearly every day. So I got shoulders, got my shoulders back, cooked myself. I got a good tan on after being in Adelaide. From Crescent, we tried to surf a couple other points up the way, but it was this massive south swell that kind of skipped everything. We got to Byron and it was pumping, so we just stayed in Byron. We finished our trip, but we're like, you know what? We'll just stay here while the surf's here. Surf 3 times a day for 3 or 4 days. It was a really good way to end the trip with like a post-holiday an hour from home. So we're back home and getting back into training. The first week, getting back used to humidity cooked me. I was only doing 2 or 3 hours of a morning and then just wrecked after lunch, readjusting to humidity, but a couple of Zwift sessions in the garage, just sweating everything out, and now it's all easy again. I'm readapted to it all. I've had 2 weeks back training now. We tried to do parkrun along the way as our training motivation. I think I was doing like 18, 19 minutes, quite hurting. But a week of training and I'm back down to 16:40. So another 4 weeks, I should be back sub 16, which will be really good because in winter I've planned out way too many running races that I've got 11 weeks in a row of racing from, I think it's like the second week of April to pretty much September, which will lead me right to tri season. So I'm super pumped from having a break. I've got energy again to do all these running races. There's a heap of trails, a heap of marathons, some short, some long. Really want to have a great, fun time at that, not overtrain, so that when Sunny Coast rolls around, I'll be fit, fast, and fresh. Last Sunny Coast that I did, I was fit and fast, but I wasn't fresh. I freshened up and got hit by a car, and what was going to be my greatest half Ironman season ever that I was just so on form for, literally went through the car door. So the car door story was just up here actually, Currumbin Valley. I'm heading back down the valley, doing a TT at race pace, and it was like 45k an hour. I was so fresh, feeling really good. And then there's a lady at the intersection waiting to cross the road. There's a bus behind me. I assumed she'd seen me or the bus. Next thing, she's pulled out from right in front of me, 45k an hour. I had nowhere to go, and I kind of just had to hit the brakes, turn and hope for the best. I kind of shoulder charged the van. I went about a foot deep into it, which probably saved me that it was the door. I squashed it. And then next thing I remember after that was standing on the side of the road. I didn't realize I had concussion because I was concussed. And then a week later, I went to the hospital. They told me I'd torn my ACJs grade 2 in both ligaments. Ducks are here too. Yeah, a week later, getting out of hospital, I went to go to the toilet during the middle of the night and passed out, hit my head on the toilet, knocked myself back out again. So I got a double concussion within a week. So then I was on real watch for epilepsy. I've got low blood pressure from being an athlete. Turns out I've got, my heart's like 2 millimeters away from being like athlete's heart because I worked it so much as a muscle, it got really strong. And the doctors just said, as long as when I finish up, that I don't get on the burgers and the beers, I should be fine. So as long as I keep eating plants and training, we're sweet as. So the running calendar is massive. I won't go through them all, but the main races, I'll do a couple lead up races and then I'll start targeting. My first kind of hit out to see where I'm at will be the GC30 because I did that last year and loved it. I think I got 4th there. I averaged 3:45 pace. I'd probably go for a very similar pace again, depending how I'm feeling, as my lead into marathon prep. The next week is Noosa Marathon. So I'll do the Norwegian method of when Gustav and Christian ran 30Ks the week before Kona and then they smashed the marathon. I'll use that same method for Noosa, but Noosa is a practice marathon, maybe 3 hours flat. 2 weeks later is Brisbane Marathon. I'll go for 250. And then a month later is Gold Coast Marathon. And I want to go sub 240, maybe hold 330 pace, see how I go, because why not be ambitious? And pretty much the only way I can see myself surviving all of that is moving into P3. I'm there nearly every day, but I think I need to sleep in the boots, not in the baths. I've done that before. Don't fall asleep in a bath. And pump that hopefully get me primed for tri-season, and hopefully I'll have a TT bike for tri-season. I actually sold my TT bike to help the Ven trip, so I'm in the market for a new TT bike, if anyone's out there and wants to hook me up. And then tri-season comes around. I haven't let myself write the tri plan yet because I kind of want to stay in the moment, enjoy easing back into it. But the target races will be the ones I missed last time I tried to have a bulk half marathon, half Ironman season. We've got Sunny Coast, Melbourne, Tassie, Wanaka, Taupo. I think that's all I can remember at the moment. Maybe go overseas a bit more, that'd be great. So fueling myself is a massive part of training, racing, recovering, and everything else. Obviously, I'm vegan. It's part of the vegan rulebook to tell everyone you're vegan. It's not, but that's a joke. 50% of my diet's probably Cliff Bar products. It's probably best to have like bulk whole foods, but when you're training so many hours a day, I don't like eating a big bowl of oats and then running or swimming or riding, so I just have a Cliff Bar, and every 45 minutes, Cliff Bar, Cliff Gel, Cliff Block, after it, a Cliff Builders Bar, and then when I'm at work, then when I eat at work, in between everything. So I work at Movement Health Clubs at Tweed, probably like 15, 20 hours a week there, introducing people to the gym, showing them how to move their body, how to get their goals, how to start. Pretty much just starting with habits, consistency, starting anywhere that's possible for you to maintain, and then we go from there. My job's the entry part, and then we go on to other PTs as well. And then the recovery is probably one of the bigger parts. It's hard to say because everything's important, but I do believe that people don't overtrain, they under-recover. So I try and go for a 50-50 of, a 1-to-1. If I train 4 hours today, 4 hours recovery. My recovery is yoga, P3 baths, P3 boots, I sleep, and throw all that in. And one of the biggest things I've learned on this journey of being full-time pro triathlete to van life man to coming back into sports is that the people that are going to be there no matter what happens are friends and family that are close. So you can have friends all over the world, it's great. Like so many people on Instagram are messaging me like every day, which is really good. It keeps me motivated to stay on Instagram, definitely. But having like my girlfriend Michaela and my mum and my dad and even my brothers came and watched me for 18 hours running around National Park of Kosciuszko really showed me the importance of having community behind you and close, tight support group that even on the worst day they've got you. So pretty much without them, Cosy would have just been, and anything else I try and do would have been a lot harder, a lot worse. So I'm actually really excited. Tomorrow I'm supporting Michaela. She's doing Tweed Enduro, the sprint distance option. She's got hooked on triathlons, maybe even some trails, which is good. We get to train together. I do my easy runs while she does her tempo. So it's really good. I get to recover a bit more, go for a bit more easy sessions, bring her into it, and we get to do cool stuff together. Training at the moment at the build back is more like training for a sprint or Olympic distance triathlon. I'm doing Monday as bike session on Zwift and a gym session and a swim. Tuesday is my run. I do hills and speed, a little bit of endurance there as well, and Pilates. And then Wednesday is my swim focus morning. I do that with Clayto's crew. And then I try to get to Wednesday Worlds if I can, but I work a lot of Wednesday Arvos as well. So it's swim, maybe a gym, and then just an easier day on the bike. Thursday is my tempo session on the run. So I get about 10 Ks there. I'm going to build that up as we build into the season and use racing as my tempo session because you go further with others. So being able to run with others in my tempo session actually really pushes me. As long as I can stay tempo and not end up in an ambulance at the end of it, then I'll get the progression I want. Friday is another Zwift session and gym session as well, and hopefully go for an easy swim. And then Saturdays, I've been mixing up between parkrun and trails. So I get another good hard hit out and then a long run after the parkrun, or I'll just hang in the trails for a couple hours, super easy, just enjoy running. And then Sundays I just come out here and ride my bike around all day until Michaela finishes work. So she's a barista, which means she works mornings to lunch, which means I've got 6 hours on my own riding bicycles in nature. So where I see myself going with triathlon and sports and pushing my body as far as physically possible is kind of enjoying every moment that I can while I've got it. Because of that car crash, I realized that I'm not a 21-year-old invincible man anymore. Anything could happen anytime. So I do have this wild addiction with triathlon that even if I didn't want to, I would still be training all day, every day. And I love pushing myself really hard. The best way I get that is with others. So by racing as many places and areas and different ways, I get to push myself in the most, but I also get that connection with other people. When you suffer together, you build like this really great bond or connection. And if you're doing a triathlon together for several hours, after it, like in the moment, you're just like not hating the person, but you're winning and they're trying to take the win from you. So it's dog eat dog, but after it, you're best mates, you've struggled together, you realize you pushed each other together. And usually without that person, you may not have gone as hard. Sometimes you go too hard trying to keep up with them. Which is definitely where I'm at the moment, which is great fun, just maxing out way too early and holding it as long as I can. And then also being able to travel the world, see different people, race different places, and enjoy just everything the world has to offer. Super passionate about the land. I've always struggled with like patriotism. I'm not really like, yeah, Australia, because I always identified that as like the government or something. Not that, but like the land that we're sitting on right now, or this lake and the trees and the animals. Having that makes the earth and the human experience what it is. I want to protect that as much as I can. Hence the veganism. It's 100% for the animals. Last night we had vegan burgers with sauce and ice cream and milkshakes. Like, you can do vegan healthy, you can do whatever healthy. I'm here for the animals. I want to do my bit to make sure I'm not destroying the world I'm living and breathing and working on, because without that I've got nothing. So help me help it. And just the beauty of nature, once you connect with it a bit more, you take more things in. And there's a really good quote I heard: the more grateful you are for what you have, the more you have to be grateful for. So enjoying the fact that there's grass here, enjoying that there's ants in the grass means the soil's really good and not dead. Even though ants bite, I'm grateful there's ants here, it means the ground's healthy. I'm grateful there's sharks in the ocean, they bite, it means the ecosystem's healthy. And I just thought that if I'm enjoying and I'm taking so much in and absorbing all this good stuff, put that into helping it. So I try and promote a little bit of that on my pages. Instagram is Travis Coleman PT. And then from that feeds into my Facebook as well, just Travis Coleman. And then on YouTube a little bit. I took some time off because it was really hard, but Marcus is helping me out with Forest TV, so I'll probably just end up on that more than my own YouTube channel. But my YouTube channel is just Travis Coleman as well. And everything is a photo of me winning a race, holding a banner. So that's how you know it's me.